quiet, forgotten bar on the outskirts of town. A place where people don't ask questions. Frank Holland, 47, ex-con, bar owner, tired of life, leans on the counter, wiping a dirty glass. The bar is almost empty, except for them. 3 men in dark suits sit at the same corner booth. They come every Thursday. They never drink much, and they only talk in numbers. Frank has been listening. Tonight, he's ready to figure out what the hell is going on. Frank watches them. Their leader, a man with slicked back hair and surgical scars along his hands, leans forward. His voice is flat, emotionless. 24, 17, 9. The second man, a gaunt-looking figure with dead eyes, nods. He scribbles something in a small black notebook. Frank pretends to wipe down the counter, but he listens carefully. These aren't lottery numbers. This is something else. The bell over the door dings. A new customer enters. Late 50s, sweating, nervous as hell. He walks straight to the corner booth. The 3 men look up, silent, expressionless, waiting. The man's voice cracks. "Please, I didn't say anything." Frank stiffens. The leader sighs. 79. The gaunt man writes it down. The man starts to shake. "You don't have to do this." The leader only tilts his head. 18. The man stumbles back, eyes wide. Then, he turns and runs out the door. No one chases him. The men just sit there. Frank watches through the window. The man is still running. He doesn't stop. Not at the sidewalk, not at the red light. And when the speeding truck hits him, Frank jerks back. His stomach turns, but when he looks back at the corner booth, the 3 men are staring directly at him and smiling. Frank's hands grip the counter. He wants to call the cops, but something inside him says, don't. Instead, he listens. The leader of the 3 taps his glass twice. "That's 2 mistakes this week." The gaunt man nods. "We'll need a replacement soon." Frank's mouth goes dry. Replacement for what? The men get up, leave cash on the table. As they walk out, the leader pauses, looks directly at Frank, smiles, then walks away. Frank waits until they're gone. Then, he moves to their booth. Something is under the whiskey glass. A small folded note. He opens it. There are only numbers. 9/18/07. Frank stares at it. Then, he looks at the calendar behind the bar. Tomorrow's date, July 18th, 2039. The hell does that mean? The phone rings. Frank jumps. He picks up. Silence. Then, a voice. Calm, low, flat. "Don't read the note, Frank." His blood turns to ice. Click. The call ends. Frank slowly lowers the receiver. His hand is shaking. He looks at the security cameras. They're already outside again. Not leaving, just standing. Watching. Frank locks the doors, pulls the shades down. Then, he takes the note, folds it up, puts it in his pocket. He needs to figure this out. Fast. Because one thing is very clear now. They know. And they aren't leaving until he's part of it. Frank locks himself in his office. He needs answers. He pulls up his laptop and starts searching. Something about that note, those numbers, a code, a date, then he finds something. A missing person report. A man named Henry Lawson went missing on July 18th, 2039, except that date hasn't happened yet. Frank clicks the link. A police record, dated in the future. The report states, victim last seen entering a small bar off Highway 14. No known witnesses. No body recovered. Frank's blood runs cold. That's his bar. And then, the file disappears. A single message replaces the page. "You shouldn't have looked, Frank." The lights flicker. Then, total darkness. The bar is silent. The air feels heavy. Then, a knock. Frank's pulse skyrockets. It's them. They never knock. Something has changed. Frank doesn't move. A voice, calm, controlled, drifting through the door. "Frank, it's time." His chest tightens. He doesn't answer. Another knock. Louder. "You either take the offer, or you become the next number." Frank's breath shudders. His stomach churns. Because now, he finally understands what those numbers mean. Not dates, not coordinates. Victims. Frank's back slams against the office wall. His chest rises and falls too fast. His fingers tremble against the desk. "Take the offer or become the next number." It echoes. not just in his skull, in the room, as if the walls themselves are whispering it back to him. This isn't about money. It isn't a robbery, it's a recruitment. And he's the next candidate. Frank grips the desk. His fingers graze the cold metal of the revolver. His breath catches, his last chance. His pulse pounds against his skull. The knock comes again. Closer. He takes a deep breath and grabs it. Gun in hand, Frank takes slow, silent steps toward the door. His fingers wrap around the knob. He counts to 3, then he yanks it open. The hallway is empty, except the front door to the bar, it's wide open. And the neon sign outside? The words have changed. It no longer says Frank's Bar. It says, "Welcome, Candidate 79. Frank's eyes dart to the corner booth. Someone is sitting there, but it's not them, it's him. A man with the same face, the same tired eyes, just older, just broken. The older Frank slowly lifts a glass, and in a voice just like his own, he speaks. "Took you long enough." Frank stumbles backward. His head spins. This isn't possible. The older Frank leans forward. "You don't get it yet?" He smirks. "You think this was random?" Frank grips the revolver tighter. "Who the hell are you?" The older version of himself shrugs. The last one who asked too many questions. He motions toward the bar. This place, it's a testing ground. Frank's stomach turns. For what? The older Frank smiles. For who gets to leave? A sound. Behind him, Frank spins around, the back of the bar. It's no longer the storage room. It's rows of booths, and in each one, a man sits. Men who look just like him. Dozens of versions of Frank. All silent, all watching. And then, in perfect unison, they smile. Frank bolts toward the door. Not real. Not real. He stumbles into the street. But the town is wrong. The signs are all in code. The sky is too dark. And then, he sees it. A billboard overhead. With a list of numbers. 9, 78, 77, 76. A countdown. And below it, candidates remaining. Frank looks down at his hands. The numbers are carved into his skin. He was never recruited. He was processed. And now it's his turn. A car pulls up. A black sedan. The leader of the 3 men steps out. Calm. Smiling. He adjusts his tie. "Frank?" Frank raises the gun. The man doesn't even flinch. "You can fight it, or you can join us." Frank's hands shake. He looks at the numbers burned into his skin. He looks back at the town, at all the versions of himself that failed. Then, he makes a choice. 1 week later, the bar opens at midnight. 3 men in suits sit in the corner booth. A bartender wipes down the counter. The neon sign outside flickers. It no longer says Frank's Bar. It says, "Welcome, Candidate 80. And behind the counter, Frank stands, expressionless, because now he's part of it, and the cycle continues. A lone gas station stands on the side of a desolate highway. The fluorescent lights flicker, struggling against the darkness. Inside, Tom Miller, 29, gas station clerk, leans against the counter, half bored, scrolling through his phone. The night shifts are always quiet, except for them. His eyes flick toward the security cameras. 3 men, standing outside, just beyond the glow of the gas station lights. They never buy anything. They never leave. Tom watches the screen. The men aren't talking. They stand still. Too still. One of them, a tall man with a tattered jacket, turns his head sharply, almost robotic. Tom stiffens. They've been coming every night for the past week. They don't pump gas. They don't go inside. They just stand there, watching. The bell above the door dings. Tom snaps his head up. A customer, a tired-looking woman, walks in. She doesn't notice them. Tom hesitates, watching the screen. The 3 men turn in unison. Now, they're watching her. His stomach tightens. Something's wrong. Tom pretends to organize snacks, but his eyes stay on the security feed. The tall man steps forward. The second man, the shortest, tilts his head like a dog sensing something. The third man, wearing a dirty baseball cap, places a hand on the gas pump, but doesn't use it. Then, all at once, they turn their heads toward the camera and smile. The woman finishes at the counter, oblivious. Tom hesitates. Should he warn her? She walks out. The three men step forward. Tom's heart races. The woman unlocks her car. The tall man takes another step. His hand reaches into his coat. Tom grabs the phone. The woman gets in her car. She drives off. The three men stop moving. They turn back toward Tom, smiling. Tom's breath catches. A sound. The door handle moves. He stares. One of them is trying to open it. The door is locked, but the click, click, click of the handle continues. Tom inches toward the phone. Then the clicking stops. He looks up at the security camera. They're gone. Tom fumbles for his phone. He dials 911. Ring. Nothing. Ring. No answer. His stomach drops. Then a knock at the glass window. Tom slowly turns. The tall man is standing inches away from the glass. Up close, his face is wrong. His skin is too smooth. His eyes too hollow. His lips move, forming the words. Can we come in? Tom stares. He doesn't answer. The man doesn't blink. Then, a second voice joins in. Can we come in? The other two are at the side windows, all whispering, all smiling. The lights flicker, then, darkness. Tom's pulse skyrockets. The gas station is pitch black. The only light comes from the security monitor, and on the screen, the three men are still there, but now they're inside. Tom jerks back, knocking over a stack of snack bags. His breathing is ragged. His eyes stay glued to the monitor. The three men are inside the gas station. But the door never opened. He would have heard it. He should have heard it. Yet, they are standing inside the aisles, not moving, not blinking, just staring at him. Tom doesn't move. Neither do they. A silent standoff. His hand trembles toward the baseball bat under the counter. The tall man tilts his head. Then, he takes a step forward. Tom grips the bat. Another step. The fluorescent lights flicker for half a second. And when they come back on, the man is inches away from the counter. Tom drops the bat. His mind screams at him to move, but his body won't obey. A whisper, right behind him. Don't look away. Tom's entire body locks up. Someone is behind him, but he's watching them and they're still staring at him. If they're still in front of him, then who is whispering? Something cold rests on his shoulder. A hand. It squeezes. Tom whirls around. Nothing. The moment he turns back, they are gone. The gas station is empty, as if they were never there. Tom stares at the security screen. He rewinds the footage, frame by frame, and then his blood runs cold. The three men never entered. They never walked through the door. One frame, they are outside. The next frame, they are inside. No in between. Tom exhales shakily, rubbing his eyes. It had to be a trick, a hallucination. He glances at the counter. His stomach drops. There, in the thin layer of dust, a message, scrawled in long, uneven letters. See you soon. The next day, Tom quits. He doesn't even collect his last paycheck. He just leaves. A week later, a news report catches his attention. A gas station, his gas station, a brutal carjacking, a missing clerk, and in the blurry security footage, three figures standing still, watching. Tom turns off the TV. Outside his window, a man in a tattered jacket stands in the street, and he is smiling.